Hi, guys, and happy Wednesday evening. I typically don't do evening lives, but I felt like this would be a good time to do one. My good friend James Patrick is going to be coming on here, and he's got an incredible story of entrepreneurship, and obviously he's going to tell it. But him and I connected so deeply with entrepreneurship in general. He's got a great story, and I really feel that whether you're in network marketing, whether you have a traditional business, it's so beneficial. And I'm going to add him in right now. And it's it's one of those things where you got to listen to this amazing human being story because it's powerful.
I don't know.
Um, Let me see. Are we getting feedback? I think we might be. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you great.
Oh, awesome. I can hear you too. There's no feedback. All right, because usually if one person has headphones in and the other person doesn't, um, there's feedback. So good. We're good to go. All right. Um, all right. Well, first, I feel like I'm gonna go through withdrawal after this interview because we've been connecting so much the last like 3 weeks, and I know that we're accountability partners outside of that, so that will keep us going. Um, so I want to dive into a few different things, but before we
hmm
talk about entrepreneurship and Fitposium and everything that you're doing, just tell a little bit of the audience who is not familiar with James Patrick, who you are, what your previous life was, and what are you doing now, and then we can kind of dive into all of that.
Awesome. Well, buddy, appreciate you having me on. So, my name is James Patrick, and my background, I've been a photographer within the health and fitness industry for 17 years now,
Mm.
actually. And had a background working as a journalist, worked in marketing for a bit, and I've kind of combined all these different little facets of my life, from working as a journalist to working in marketing to working as a photographer, to then build a new brand, which is my Fitposium brand, which is to work with health and fitness entrepreneurs on growing their own careers. So it's kind of interesting to see all these little different facets of my life come together in this new homogenized effort.
So obviously your background was in photography, and you had a corporate job. You did some marketing.
Yep.
I think you know a lot of my story, and a lot of my network that's on here knows my story. What was your aha moment when you realized that you were psychologically unemployable and you said to yourself, I'm going to go all in with this?
So there was a moment I had because I worked my marketing job for 7 years while I was growing my photography business. And, I kind of look at like a scale of dissatisfaction. When you first start a job, if that scale is like a 1 to 10, you're like at a 1 or 2. Like you really like what you're doing. You like the work. It's new. It's challenging. But the further you go down, politics of the industry get in the way, or a new boss comes in, or the industry gets really difficult, whatever it is. So my dissatisfaction got up to like a 9 on that scale, and
Mm.
it was miserable. I was not happy. And fortunately, I had built my photography business up to a point that I was essentially working 2 full-time jobs. And I specifically remember the day I turned in my notice, because it was the day before Thanksgiving, and I
Wow.
had my annual review with my boss, and we sat down to review like what I had done in my marketing job over the last year. And my boss saying, "Yeah, your numbers are good. You've been nailing your proposals. Your win ratio is really good. The only other thing is the anonymous feedback from the rest of the office leaders." I'm like, "Okay, what's the anonymous feedback?" And the response is, "Well, for the most part, it's good." I'm like, "What do you mean for the most part it's good?" He says, "Well, there were 1 or 2 that maybe weren't that glowing, but you know what? Those guys, they were having bad days. Don't worry about it. Like, you're crushing it right now." I'm like, "No, I really want this feedback. I want to know what this anonymous feedback was that wasn't glowing." And it was 2 things. One, it was James has become very abrasive to work with.
Hmm.
And I sat back, I'm like, yeah, that's true. That is 100% true. Because I was unsatisfied with my job. So, yes, I had a short fuse. Yes, I was not happy with where things were going.
Oh
And
God.
the other was, and this was the one that got me to leave. The other was, I've lost all faith in James's ability as a marketer.
Not to cut you off. How many years ago was this?
10 years ago.
And it was just like yesterday, right? You
Oh,
can,
yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
it's one of those one of those impactful moments that you never ever forget because it's it just says it reassures you with everything that you were feeling in your heart that you know what, yeah, like that scale of dissatisfaction, and the reason why I was so abrasive is that scale of dissatisfaction I was like at it was beyond the highest number. I was done. So express the feeling, because I have a lot of entrepreneurs and network marketers on here that do network marketing, or they have a side hustle, and they may be dissatisfied the way that you were with your marketing job. When you made that leap, it was a leap of faith. You don't just decide to do this and everything comes rolling, and you still have to work. So two questions. Number one, what was the overwhelming feeling you had when you put in your notice? Number one. And number two, what was the biggest challenge you faced now that you were officially on your own and the marketing job was no more?
So the first part was when I was told that statement, like that second statement, which is I've lost all faith in James's ability to be a marketer. The immediate response I had is I turn in my notice. And my boss, he sat back in his chair, he took a big sigh, and he said, "You know, James," and what I anticipated is you got to be crazy. Like this is 2008, 2009. The economy is crap. Like everyone's losing their job, and I'm quitting my job. And he sat back in his chair. He says, "You know, James, I'm surprised it took you that long." Those were his
Wow.
exact words. And he says, "Whatever you need, I got your back. I will support you. I think this is amazing. I'm proud of you." So it was this overwhelming relief washed over me. It's like,
Mm.
because this had been in my mind and in my heart for years. Years I'm thinking, God, is this going to be the year that I quit my job? So when I actually said it, when I actually went through with it, it was like, that was so much easier to actually go through with it than I'd ever built it up in my mind.
Wow.
Okay. And so it was on a Wednesday. The next day was Thanksgiving. And I enjoyed the Thanksgiving holiday. So I started my job as an entrepreneur on Monday. And I remember that day specifically. Like I got up super early, I got a good workout in, and then I went to my office in my house, where I am right now, and I got to work. And I got to work and I started calling clients and I started actually moving stuff and I learned this at my marketing job. I learned the benefit of proactive marketing,
Mm.
not reactive marketing. Reactive marketing is
Ooh.
you set up your Instagram, you wait for your phone to ring. You set up your website, you wait for an email to come in. It's not how it works. And I learned that at my old job, but I learned that as a photographer building my business too. You can't wait for clients to find you in hopes that they hire you. You know what? When people find me and hire me, you know what they tell me? They say, "James, I've been following your work for years." Years, Scott. I don't have time to wait years for clients to hire me. I have to go find the clients I want to work with. I have to go pitch myself. I have to prospect. I have to pitch myself. I have to form those connections. I have to build those relationships. So that's what I did on my first day was I picked up the phone and I started prospecting the clients that I wanted to be working with.
Now, so two questions. Number one, how did you're a father and a husband?
Husband, not,
Hu-
I have a dog,
okay,
but I don't know if that counts.
it does count. I mean,
Okay.
pets are kids. So, were you like when you were you married when you left the marketing job?
Nope, nope. I was 100% alone.
Okay, so was it an easier decision for you because it was just you, where you would it have been different if you were married at the time? Would it have changed things? Or
Mm.
regardless of the life situation, do you think it would have pushed you maybe even doing it sooner? Because obviously, um, you were basically just talking to the person in the mirror at the time. There was no one really. So imagine, your wife now being there. Do you think it would have pushed you to do it sooner? But obviously we can't rewrite history and everything happens on purpose. And number two, I want you to dive a little bit deeper into reactive marketing versus what was it? Passive marketing,
Proactive. Yeah.
proactive. So because network marketing, it's the same thing. You can't put a post out there and wait for someone to want to sign up and be a part of your team, because whenever your business requires another human being for growth, like network marketing, like a clientele base that you have now, you have to be proactive. So first, speak about, did your life situation at that time delay you jumping into entrepreneurship full time? And number two, talk about the two different types of marketing and how one could benefit a network marketer than the other.
So the first question, I've literally never been asked that before, and it's
Ooh.
such a fascinating question. I have the relationship I have with my wife is we aggressively push each other beyond our comfort limit. So my guess is, had I known her at that time, I probably would have left sooner rather than later, because the reason a lot of people don't leap is that fear of the unknown. I don't think it's a fear of failure. We know what failure is like. We've been failing our entire lives, and I truly don't believe in a failure, like a fear of success.
Yeah.
I think it's a fear of the unknown. What would happen if? Okay, and so had I been married or had I had kids, like, we could really navigate that what if, and that unknown could become clear faster. But I will say this about this process, and particularly when I worked in marketing, because I felt like I did everything incorrectly or in the wrong priority. Because when I worked my marketing job and I was still growing my photo business at the same time, that was the priority. That's everything I did, which meant everything else took second seat or no seat at all. Everything else being my body, my mind, and relationships. So that's why when I made this leap, I had no one. I was completely by myself. And I got to a point in my trajectory, in my professional trajectory, where I looked at it and I was out of shape. I was always stressed out. Like, my doctor was warning me about my health, about how I was taking care of myself, and I had no one with me. And that was this amazing light bulb for me to make me realize that, oh my God, yes, I'm building this great business. I won't live long enough to enjoy the fruits of it. I will not. And if I ever get to a point where I can enjoy it, I'm going to enjoy it by myself, because I got no one there with me. Because I put that at the pinnacle, and I went under that assumption that so many go under, which is, once my business gets to a certain level, then I'll take care of my body. Once my business gets to a certain level, then I'll have time to nourish my mind. Once my business gets to a certain level, then I will make the time to have other people in my life. I'll make that space for other people in my life. And it never works that way, because every business goal I set for myself, I would hit, and then I just move the goal a little further down the road. And it would be like, okay, I want to match my income in my marketing job once I launch my photo business. I did that in 6 months. Okay, well, I guess I want to double it. I did that by the end of the year. Okay, I guess I want to double that. I did that the following year. What if, as a photographer, what if I shot 50 covers in a year? 50 printed magazine covers. Well, I got 55, and I said, what if I shot 60? Okay, every time I just moved the goal further and further down. I never allow myself to cross it. And when you do not allow yourself to cross it, you never go back to that point of, once I reach this part, then I'll make the time for my body, then I'll make the time for my mind, then I'll make the time to open up my space for relationships. Okay,
So powerful.
it took me actually realizing that, and then it came to, I made time for relationships. That shifted everything, because guess what? I still got my work done. I was like, wait, I'm spending all this time on a relationship now, which is now into a marriage, but I'm still getting all my work done. I'm getting more work done in less time. And then I start taking care of my body, and it's like, oh wait, I'm still getting my work done. Then I start taking care of my mind and nourishing my mind, and I'm still getting my work done. It just became about prioritizing, and I put it in that order of body, mind, relationships, and then business. That was a big game changer for me. So that's kind of like, if I wanted something to learn earlier in my trajectory, it would have been that. It would have been that. Not necessarily like leaving my corporate job for my freelance work. It would be figuring this out in my 20s, when it could have had an even better impact on me. And I didn't figure this out till my mid-30s. Okay?
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Did you, like, when you were at your most unhealthy, you weren't eating well, you weren't sleeping well, you weren't really working out. What was it? Was the light bulb moment? Was it a physical that you took? Was it sitting down with your doctor and him saying, "Listen, dude, like if you don't start taking care of yourself, uh, you're going to experience a lot of issues later on down the road."
Yep, it was. I was always tired. Like I had this chronic fatigue, exhausted every day, and I didn't know what was wrong with me. When I went to my doctor, they ran the blood work, they ran the panels, said, "Listen, James, you're borderline obese. Like you
Wow.
are right on that line, and you are borderline diabetic. Like you are right on that line. If you don't shift this, like, because my life is work until as late as I could, and then go to a networking meeting where I'm out drinking and whining and dining clients, and get up early the next day and start it all over again, day after day after day after day, never sleeping, never resting, because I'm always trying to build something. Okay." And it came to that point, it's like, oh, I got to make a shift here. I really have to make a shift here. And that's when everything started to change for me.
Wow. So let's talk about the marketing aspect, reactive marketing versus proactive
Yes.
marketing. And I think this is really, for all the network marketers on here, entrepreneurs, this is key because, you can build the best funnel out there. You can have the best email campaign. You can have the prettiest pictures, but you have to be proactive. You can't be reactive. So talk about going back to your marketing days of understanding the importance of being proactive when you're marketing yourself and your business as opposed to being reactive, and how important is it at this day and age with the influx of technology that we have and the social media and everything that people are doing. How important is it for a network marketer, for example, to be proactive when they're marketing themselves and their business and their future clients and teammates?
So you can look at it this way. So I'll address this in the two really components I had in my professional trajectory. When I worked my marketing job, my job was to chase public sector work. So publicly advertise projects, be it architecture, engineering, construction management projects. The smallest projects I would chase would be in the high six-figure range. Most of the projects I would chase would be in the seven-figure range. You would not win a project when a client said, "We have a project." That was not when you won a project. You won a project 2 years before they ever advertised it. That's when you won the project. You won the project by building the relationship. You won the project by being the trusted advisor, the trusted resource. Because by the time they advertised that project, by the time it was publicly posted in the papers to say, "You know what, we need a new roadway built, or we need this new building designed, or we need this new infrastructure created and engineered," they already knew who they're going to hire. They just have to go through the process. And we saw that time and time and time again. And in the 7 years that I ran that marketing department, I chased probably around 1,500 projects
Wow.
in that time. The projects we won, and there are certain clients, by the way, there are certain clients I had nearly a 100% win ratio with, and there are other clients I had a 0 with. The difference between the two was the clients that we almost always won with. We were the ones constantly building the relationship, earning the relationship, letting them know who we were, what we could do, why we were the best at all points, so that by the time the project came out, it would be hard as hell to beat us. You would have to pull out it almost never happened. And the projects we lost, every single time, the projects we lost was because we didn't put in the upfront work to build a relationship. We didn't put in the upfront work to prove why we were the right source for them, why we were the right service for them. Because by the time that project hits the streets, and we would have this thing, it's like we would ask every project, like, is this, when it got advertised, is this the first time you've heard about this project? And if the answer is yes, you should not chase it. And hundreds still would. They still would chase the thing. Oh, we might have a chance. Nope. So as this translates into my own business, I just would look at that and I'm like, okay, I cannot wait. I can't even afford to wait for a client to call me up and say, "James, I saw your website," or, "I'd love for you to shoot, my magazine cover," or whatever it is. I had to go out and proactively be the one to earn that relationship. Because the way I look at it is, one, you study your clients. You get to know them. And the reason you get to know them is because you need to know how you can best serve them. Okay, what is it about this person that I can serve? What value can I add to this person or this client? That second step is then you have to position yourself. That's the pitch. That's you proactively calling them, connecting with them, DMing them, messaging them, creating that connection to showcase who you are, what you do, and what value you provide. And if you follow those two, and those take a long time, those can take a very long time. I've prospected clients for years before I ever got my first opportunity. But every client I prospect, I will eventually get an opportunity. And that's my mindset going into it. Because at some point, I will show what I can do for them. I will show the value I can provide for them, why I am the right choice for what they need. That third option then comes in is when I get that opportunity, I crush it. I dominate it. I validate why they took a chance on me. Like if that's that first project I get with the magazine, it is going to be the best experience this client has ever had. I'm going to pull out all the stops to prove to them, yes, you were right in giving me this chance. I'm going to validate that. And then that fourth thing comes in, which is my clients. I stay in touch with my clients. I never want my clients to think that they were a one and done. I want my clients for life. So I stay in touch with my clients. I keep tabs with my clients because when I do that, guess what? I know what they need next. And then that cycle continues around and around and around it goes. Because now, because I know what they need next, because I've stayed in touch, I am the best person positioned to pitch myself again. And this is how that life cycle can go with a client. And you can take that forever.
That's amazing. So let's transition because I my network is a lot of health and wellness professionals, and I want to talk about Fitposium and how it came about. And obviously it's a very wildly successful event that you put on. So talk about the birth of Fitposium, how it came about, and what the first year was like. And is this the fifth year of Fitposium?
Fifth year we're going into, October 3rd through 6th.
So talk about where Fitposium is 5 years later, and obviously how people can find out about it and who is best suited to come to this event.
So when I was working as a photographer, I'm shooting for a lot of magazines and people start seeing my work getting published a lot. So naturally, I'm going to have people reach out to me to say, you know what, James, I'd like to get published too. I think I have what it takes to get published. Do you think you could help me in this goal? So I'd work with individuals to create the imagery that I felt was best suited to get them on the cover. And I had a client in particular where she came to me and she said, I think I could get published. I said, let's give this a try. She had the right look. She had the right brand. She had the right brand messaging. I worked with her, and in a single year, we got her 3 magazine covers.
Wow.
3 covers in a year. People can go their entire career without a single feature. She got 3 covers in a single year. A year later, I followed up with her just to see what was going on with her, how business was, and she tells me, James, I'm not in the industry anymore. I'm like, what do you mean you're not in the industry anymore? She's working a desk job at this point. I'm like, how is this possible? And she said, well, I didn't know what to do with it. I had no idea what to do with it. And then that kind of was that light bulb moment for me where I realized, okay, I worked in journalism. I understood the importance of storytelling and how to tell your story. And then I worked in marketing, and I understood the importance of how to prospect and get work and market yourself and your brand. And now I combine that with my work in photography, so I've had this great trajectory. But I didn't learn this in school. They didn't teach me when I was in journalism school. They didn't teach me how to market myself. They didn't teach me how to get clients. I had to learn that myself. And I realized that all these health and fitness professionals that I'm working with, yes, they know so much about what they do, and they excel at knowing what they do about changing people's lives. And they're the best at it. But they have no idea how to find their clients, how to convert their audience into clients, how to keep their clients, because they never were taught that. And that was that moment where I says, okay, we need to start talking about this. We need to bring a group together to share best practices, to share lessons learned, and to share opportunities, and then celebrate one another's success. And that's how the Fitposium Conference was born. So we launched it in 2015. We're now 5 years later. We have our biggest conference we've ever done. It's in Scottsdale, October 3rd through 6th. And we really focus on 3 things. The first thing is information. The best information in the world, the best presenters in the world that will teach you how to build, market, and profit from your brand, regardless of what you choose to do, whether you're a trainer or a coach, whether you're a network marketer, whatever you choose to do, you are going to learn how to build, market, and profit from your brand. So information is one pillar. The second pillar is community. To have a tribe of people who want to push you, who want to keep you accountable. Because listen, if you're an entrepreneur in this, you might think that you're in it on your own. You don't know who you can talk to. You don't know who you can commiserate with. You don't know who you could go to ask for help. I was doing a live earlier today just talking about the conference. We had 2 people who just registered, just commenting in the live. They formed a connection together, and they're
Wow.
looking forward to meeting each other in October. That's what we want to create, is that connection to a tribe who's willing to keep you accountable and be in your corner. And then that third thing, which you will not get at any other conference, that third thing is opportunity. What we've done at our conference is we've partnered with leading magazines, the editors of top publications. We are bringing them to the event to meet with attendees face to face. So attendees can sit with them face to face, share their story, share their brand message with the option and opportunity to get their message picked up and published. Like this cover of Scottsdale Health, which this is the July issue. Koya got this cover by being a registered attendee of the conference. Scottsdale Health has published 11 covers featuring attendees of the conference. Strong Fitness Magazine, one of our other partners, they've put someone from the conference that they've met in every single issue for over 2 years. And they're just 2 of our partners. We have, I think, 9 or 10 different magazines we've partnered with this year who are going to be meeting with people face to face and selecting them for writing features, for editorial features, for cover features. They are hungry for content, and they're diving into our attendees as their prospects for their content.
And who are some of the highlighted speakers that people may know? That, because obviously, whether you're in network marketing or not, everyone has a story to tell. Whether it's a financial story, whether it's a physical story, someone losing a lot of weight, those types of stories, magazines and editors, they're looking for that type of stuff. So in addition to the Scottsdale magazine and Strong, what other publications are going to be there, and who could people expect to see speak?
So on stage this year, we have over 24 presenters this year. Some of our highlights are Chris Harder is presenting this year. We have anyone who's in the health and fitness industry is going to know Jamie Eason. She's iconic in the health and fitness industry. She's speaking on stage this year. Jill Coleman, Danny J, Kathy Savage, Billy Polson, Nick Harder just signed on to be presenting. So the presentations cover a gamut from mindset to strategy to actual implementation that you can have within your own business, regardless of what you choose to do. And we're very intentional with that because we want people not just to sit there and get inspired. We're not here to inspire people. We want to give you the information that you can act on. That is really important. That's essential. And then you would ask about other magazine partners. So Scottsdale Health Magazine, So Scottsdale Magazine, Strong Fitness Magazine, Strong Fitness Australia, they're all present. We also have partnered with Train Magazine, Train for Her Magazine, Respire Fitness Magazine, Define Fitness Magazine. Just today we made an agreement that Sweat RX Magazine is getting involved.
Wow.
There's a lot of publications that dive into this conference every single year. And it's not just magazines. We also partner with podcasters. We also partner with casting directors, talent directors. Like, we create so many opportunities for people to meet with these individuals face to face and share their story, share their message, and have the opportunity. Like Oxygen Magazine was one of our partners last year. They booked 3 people to write for the publication the day of the conference. And we just call them up on stage. We said, listen, you 3 individuals, Oxygen Magazine has just booked you. You are now writing for their publication starting today.
Wow. So it's opportunities like this, and what I want the listeners, either live or on the replay, to understand, the fact that you've curated such an incredible event, because it doesn't, the value of whatever it costs to go for the weekend, it's you can't even quantify the value of the opportunity that someone can get from attending this event. So just put things into perspective for people, James. How many people attended the first Fitposium in 2015, and how many people are you expecting to attend this year, 5 years later?
Yeah, when I designed this conference, I designed it with myself in mind, like almost selfishly, because I looked at, I'm like, what would I want if I were going to a conference? Like, I'd want the best presenters. That's a given. I'd want a community. That's kind of a given. But that's why we added in that opportunity component, because when I go to a conference, I want to believe that I'm going to walk away with that conference with something in hand, with a potential in hand, with a job in hand. And whenever I go to a conference, that's my intention when I go into it. So that's why I created it at our conference at Fitposium, and I just blow it up. Like, I don't just want one or two opportunities. I want hundreds of opportunities. And there have been, like, in the last 5 years, this is our fifth year, we're close to over 200 earned media features that were booked at the conference. Like, it is that big. So your other question was, how much have we grown since we launched this thing? So when we launched this thing originally in June, July, August, September, October, 4 months. It took us 4 months to launch the first one. We decided we were going to do it. We launched it 4 months later. We kind of felt like my team and I, we were kind of like laughing in hindsight, because we reserved a hotel room. We just kind of walked in. We're like, we're here now. We're ready for our conference. And it was like a 3/4 day event. We had 55 people in a room that fit 50. So we sold out at 50 people. And that to us was a big success. The second year, we tripled it, had 150. Year after that, we had 200. Last year, we had 275. This year, we will be between 400 and 450 attendees. It's just grown.
So within 5 years, you've almost 10x'd this conference,
Yep.
which is
Just about.
just incredible. So how can people find out more about you and Fitposium? And obviously it's on a great weekend in October. You know, Arizona in October is actually a really great time to be out there. It's after the hot season. It's before the nights are just beautiful. Like, October to March in Arizona is just amazing. So how can people find more about you and Fitposium and learn how to join this amazing conference?
Absolutely. So fitposium.com is the website, at Fitposium on Instagram. And if anyone wants to connect with myself personally, it's just super simple, jamespatrick.com.
Awesome. James, just grateful for you and your friendship and everything that we've been working on together. And for those that are on here live and on the replay, you definitely want to connect with this human being. He's an amazing guy. I'm grateful to have him in my life, not only as an accountability partner, but as a friend. And James, I just want to wish you continued success, and thank you so much for taking the time out to be here tonight.
Scott, the feeling is so mutual. I freaking love what you do. You are one of these individuals, and this is why I think we resonated so well with each other when we connected. Like, you give so much of yourself all the time to support others. That really resonates with me. It's rare to find individuals like you, so I appreciate everything you do to support others and help others chart in their own journey. So it's really amazing, man.
Thank you, brother. And for the people that are on here now, James is going to be featured on my podcast in about 4 or 5 weeks. So stay tuned for that. You can hear more about him and his story. And he has a couple surprises for people that do tune into that episode. So do not miss that. It's coming in about 4 or 5 weeks. So stay tuned. And James, thank you again for being here. And we will be connecting soon. And again, I don't want it to go too long because I'm getting used to this pattern of talk to you every week. So let's continue that going.
We have to find something.
Yeah, we will. Thanks, brother. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, brother. So again, lean into your passion. Even for my network marketing friends that are on here right now, if you're not fully satisfied with what you're doing as a professional career, working for someone else, that's okay. Don't give up on that passion project. Keep going and put your time and your energy and your effort where you want something to grow, and it will. So again, for James, thank you so much for being here, brother. For everyone that has joined me live and on the replay, thank you so much for joining. Love and gratitude to each and every one of you, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye, everybody.